So, hi and welcome to the Whiteout, your ultimate guide to skiing podcast. Welcome, Rob. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You know, it's busy time of year, isn't it? And everything's happening right now. It's really exciting to be working in the skiing industry and the winter sports industry at the moment.
This is a great chance to thank our sponsors today, Mountain Heaven. Mountain Heaven are an independent family-owned chalet operator with catered and self-catered chalets and apartments across some of the best resorts in the French and Swiss Alps. Not only that, but Mountain Heaven will even take you skiing as far afield as Uzbekistan. So check them out today at mountainheaven.co.uk.
Well, we're about to head over to the London Ski Show, but obviously by the time our listeners get to this, we'll have been to the London Ski Show and we'll know how great it's been. So,
well, Dom, I just need to remind you that I know you live close to London, but actually you've got to go north to Birmingham.
So do I have to have any injections? I need my passport.
It's okay. It's a great city, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine there.
I am looking forward to it. I get a direct train from it. Do you know how much my train cost me? £6.50.
That's less than I pay, and I live in the West Midlands. So well done.
You should get the train down here and the train back up.
Yes.
So our first official episode of the Whiteout podcast, Rob, we did our intro just over a week ago. And today we're going to cover our usual subjects, which are going to be where you can ski now, where is there snow, a quick look at the hot news in the ski world at the moment. And of course, the bit that you and I always love is our buyer's guide.
Yep. Yeah, and then we're also going to look at, I didn't know you could ski there. So those kind of unusual destinations that you may have heard of, but, you know, certainly off the beaten track. A blow your bonus section. So looking at how you can really splash the cash this winter if you've got it. And then skiing on a shoestring. And then finally looking at anything we just liked in the ski world right now. Dom, where can we ski now, and what's happening with the snow then from around the world?
Well, obviously it is pretty early days to be reporting on this. It's only the middle of October as we record this, but certainly mid-September saw some fresh snow being reported in the Alps and the Dolomites, which was pretty good news after such a long, dry summer. And I know in Colorado, they reported its second snowfall at the end of September, which was good news. I saw Loveland in Colorado. I don't know, have you ever been to Loveland?
No.
No, they have a count. They're traditionally one of the early resorts to open in Colorado. Yeah. They had a countdown clock counting down to their target date of opening. So I know that they've been pumping snow and they have got some low temperatures there. Good news if we can get them open, but they're not open just yet. Closer to home for most of our listeners. I know we do actually, I look back on these statistics and we do have quite a lot of listeners in America as well. So I'm sure that will be useful information for them. But for our more European and UK listeners, there are about 10 glaciers that are now open, including Hintertux and Soelden and Pitztal and Stubai, as well as, I'm going to be useless at saying this one, Kitzsteinhorn.
Sounds good.
And Kaunertal. Is that right? Kaunertal
so.
In Austria, yeah. As well as in Italy, Cervinia, Passo Stelvio and Val Senales. Plenty open there, as well, of course, as Zermatt and Saas Fee in Switzerland. So quite a few that are open there, which is good.
Just going to quickly drop in that I'm going to Soelden next week.
We're not interested. We don't care. Actually, what I mean is, I'm jealous.
I'm sorry. I'm looking forward to it.
Be nice. Have you looked at the webcams?
No, you know what? I haven't had any time to look at webcams, and I must find a little bit of time to have a sneaky look. I think they had some fresh snow there. The conditions are okay. I don't know what the weather forecast is, though, even. So I need to check that out.
I am very jealous of that, Rob. So don't send me any photographs, and I don't want to hear from you while you're there. So also there is Gran Valera in the Pyrenees. They are reporting pretty good snowfall at the end of last month. So hopefully they're on target to open early December, as well as Jasna in Slovakia. But also I read some very good news that skiing had started in Finland in Levi and Ruka, or Levi, however you prefer to say it, both opening several slopes. They use snow farming, where they were stockpiling snow, and then they rolled out that snow now, coupled with the low temperatures and a bit of pump snow, they are able to get a good start to the season. So that's pretty good news for Finland.
I think the Finland thing is really interesting, isn't it? And how they keep that snow stored over the summer. And I'm guessing in that sort of mid to northern part of Finland, they don't have hugely high temperatures even through the summer, so it's possible for them to do that. Yeah. And it's a great initiative.
Well,
I shall let you know what the snow's like when I get back from Soelden.
So definitely, if you've got the itch and you want to get out there early, then there are some great places, and we'll leave all those in the notes so that you've got links to all those resorts and you know where to go. In the meantime, Rob, you're a bit of a hot news hound. You know a lot about what's going on in the ski world.
Well, there's a few things going on. I mean, there's some really good news that Canada has dropped COVID restrictions from the start of October, and travelers don't need to provide any information on their vaccination status or even wear masks on planes and on trains, although that does continue to be recommended. And bookings were reported to have been really strong in the spring. But the UK's largest operator, Crystal, have said that they saw demand drop when Canada reintroduced random COVID testing. So it is great that that's gone again. I mean, that's going to really help things.
I wonder if we're going to see any sort of a change there with the weakness of the pound. I wonder if that's going to affect people in North America.
You know what? I mean, obviously, the US dollar is very, very strong. It's a good point about the Canadian dollar. And you know what? I've got to admit, I'm not quite up on that. Obviously, with the US dollar being as strong as it is, and I certainly think we'll see some Americans coming over into the European direction. Because discovering the Alps when they can with a strong dollar. And actually, last night I spent an evening with the legendary Dan Egan, the most prolific Warren Miller ski movie star in history. He's bringing people over from the US to Europe this winter. Back over this way, spotted something with Alicats, the Chalet company, who are offering some savings if you travel by rail, eat vegan food, and don't use the hot tub. It's like, all right, so right. Be good, and you can save 20% off of the accommodation. So I kind of like. I mean, I get it, and it's a nice initiative. It's a nice initiative.
It is, and there's a feel good factor there as well.
Yeah, definitely. So they say they've honed on these three different criteria due to the pledge to reduce the carbon footprint and food and travel, cut CO2 from air travel, decrease the electricity needed to keep the hot tub water at 37.5 degrees centigrade and stop the water waste, especially from this summer when there was quite a serious drought, even in the French Alps. And I was in the French Alps this summer, and all those water fountains that normally spring out of the ground, and you could just fill your water bottle up, they were all turned off because there was just no water. So it does make
Alicats. They're Alicats in Morzine, isn't it?
Alicats are in Morzine. I love trains.
Yep.
I like hot tubs. I mean, I don't need it. I'm not a vegan, so I think maybe if they gave me 10% for the rest of it, I'd be happy. As long as I could get a steak once or twice during the week. Sorry, sorry, Ali. Another bit of news. I mean, there's a new black run in the Three Valleys, sort of created on the slope of an old run over on the Mirabel Monterey side. It's christened Libex. It's a very, very steep, completely natural slope, 600 meters long and 300 meters vertical in distance. Some skiers might remember the piste. It was formerly the black piste under the old Platier 3 gondola. And you can get to the top of it on the new Bukatan chairlift, and that's at 2,700 meters of altitude. And they hope that this run will be added to the list of must-ski steeps for experts alongside those existing descents. One of the best news stories recently, of course, was the opening of Japan again to visitors from the 11th of October. It ends 2.5 years when Japan's borders had been closed. I mean, you do have to complete a pre-arrival questionnaire, which can be filled in before travel to Japan.
Worth it.
Worth it. I mean, we're used to paperwork, aren't we? So a bit of paperwork won't put us off going there. That's for sure.
Have you been to Japan, Rob? Have you skied out in Japan?
You know what? I have not.
You've got to do that.
I've always had a deal with my wife, who really wants to go to Japan as well, that I wouldn't go to Japan without her.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, we've renegotiated this deal, and she is happy now for me to go skiing on my own in Japan, and then we're going to do a summer trip there because we've got some really good friends in Japan.
You've got to get that. You've got to get that done. I was there a couple of years ago, just before COVID, and cultural and ski and city, it's just it's unrivaled as far as I'm concerned so far. So
I might end up going with Dan Egan, and we sat down last night and had the largest sushi dinner I've ever eaten in my life in Kensington High Street.
Oh wow.
But I think we need to redo that in Japan.
There's probably worse people you could go with.
Yeah, for sure. And there's Sweden have got an early season start because the Ski Star group, Ski Star, they're the Scandinavia's largest ski resort operator. They run resorts like Åre, Sweden, as well as in Norway. They've got Hemsedal and Trysil, and Sweden as well as Åre. They've got Sälen and Vemdalen. They're going to start their 2020. Well, they have started their 2023 ski season already because they've created a year-round ski slope. It's like an urban ski resort called, I don't know if I'll get this right, sorry to any Swedish listeners, Hammarbybacken of Stockholm. So right in the middle of Stockholm. And they've invested in an all-weather dry slope. They made the place in Copenhagen, that one that's on the like the green energy power plant. They made that place.
So it's not indoor snow like we have at places like the snow centre at Hammerland, Milton Keynes, the dry stuff, the proper dry stuff.
And I love the indoor slopes, but actually the being outdoors on as well has its benefits. So I'd love, next time I'm in Stockholm, not that I'm there very often, I will try and get to that place. Andorra joins the Icon Pass. So, all the resorts within Andorra in the Pyrenees, of course, are the latest destinations in Europe to join the expanding global lift pass scheme. Some peaks in Canada is also joining.
This is gathering momentum, isn't it? The aggregate ski passes, isn't it, that cover multiple resorts?
Yeah, it's an interesting development that obviously North American skiers are very, very used to. But they do have their culture of skiing in North America is a little bit different in terms of the fact that, people that ski in North America will do lots of short trips. Yeah. Generally, I'm generalizing, obviously. Where in Europe, we tend to do less but longer trips. Yeah. So for those North American skiers that will buy that seasonal pass at the beginning of the winter because they're going to go on the weekends and they're going to drive up there and they want to ski through the winter, 1 day here, 2 days there, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It works very well for the North Americans. Yeah, true. There's of course schemes in Europe like the Magic Pass in the Valais region, of course, in Switzerland. So that's a very kind of similar concept. It could be a development that we see more of in Europe. Whether it works for British skiers or not is another question. Absolutely. Say. And then last but not least, Inghams has announced that they're adding 44 new chalets, hotels, and apartment choices to their program for the upcoming 22-23 season. Wow. Yeah, and they're across 25 resorts in Italy, Switzerland, Canada, France, Lapland, and Austria. Probably not expected at this time, straight out of COVID. So that's pretty good news from them, isn't it? I think it's good news, and I think we're seeing other operators launching new products as well. I don't think it's only Inghams. There's the medium-sized chalet companies as well are really pushing their own products, whether it's kind of fully catered chalets or whether it's a sort of flexible self-catered chalet setup that then you build services on top of. So it's exciting. And there's absolutely no two ways about it. Hearing great stories that the demand for holidays or for skiing at the moment is huge, and so as you say, there's a great opportunity there for a lot of people. That was I think, did you say 90 minutes for the news and not 90 seconds, Dom? It wasn't that bad. I think you did pretty well. There was some big news, there was some good news there, and there's lots going on, and obviously that news will gather momentum, so we probably will have to get a bit snappier as time goes on, but some good news there, and it's nice to hear it. So, moving on from travel to gear. This is where we can really spend some time, Rob. I mean, we can settle back into our chairs and spend some big time on this. What have you found? I've picked one product moment that I really like the look of, and it's the Dragon goggle. It's the RVX goggle with swiftlock 2.0, of course, Rob. I mean, who would buy a goggle without swiftlock 2.0? This has got the magnetic contact points for your lens with a one-sided release lever. So it's a nice secure lens when you try it. So you don't feel like it's going to constantly pop off with some of those magnetic lenses. They feel like they're about to fly off. This has got a little lever to secure it back into place and to release it. But still a very speedy lens change. It's a dead good looking goggle, also compatible with glasses. I know you're a glasses wearer, so it's OTG over the glasses. Big wide angle view, so really nice with the LumiLens color optimized technology, which obviously is great for seeing the contours of the slope. I do love those Dragon goggles. They have this patented frameless design. They are just sweet as. And a snip at £209, Rob. What do you think? I love Dragon goggles. They always look great, don't they? They are. Yeah, they look smart, and they're very, very well made. Are you a £200 pair of goggle man? I think invest as much money as you possibly can in ski goggles. There is a challenge. I mean, there's a lot of goggle manufacturers that say they're OTG, and a lot of the time they're not really. Because what happens is, if you've got glasses, you stick the goggles on, and then you want to take your glasses off. And if they're not fully OTG, they pull the glasses off with you and they fall into the snow, and it's terrible.
Mind you, I do keep telling you that you need to change those Dame Edna average glasses that you wear. I think they are just a little over the top for under a goggle, you know.
Yeah, I should probably get something a little bit more sensible.
Actually, in one of our other podcasts, we're going to be doing how to choose your goggle lens coming up next month. So that's something to look forward to for our listeners. But what have you found, Rob? Because you're a proper gear geek. I mean, let's tell everybody you do know your gear, don't you?
I've been using ski gear for a long time, and hopefully that builds a bit of knowledge up. I love backpacks, and I virtually always ski with a backpack. But this one from Evoc, it's a Line Pro 30. It's a really lovely backpack. I do like Evoc backpacks. They're always very, very comfortable. Loads of pockets and zippy, tons of little places you can store different things.
I agree.
This is a free ride backpack. It's got the Light Shield Plus protection technology built into it. You know, like a back protector, basically built into the backpack, which is not necessarily a new thing, but that's great. So you don't need to double up with a back protector. It's also designed to carry skis, can fully open without having to remove them. It's got loads of features, including insulated sleeves for hydration pack. £230. Again, you know, it's the upper end of that ski backpack product, but it's going to last years. Okay. So obviously, because it can carry skis, it's suitable for ski touring. I mean, at 30 liters, I would say it's great for short ski tours and day kind of tours, like if you're accessing terrain. If you're going on a multiple ski tour and hut to hut kind of ski tour, 30 liters might be on the light side, I'd say. Probably need something a little bit larger. But it's definitely designed for people that want to do those kind of short backcountry access tours. And some climbing as well, so you can stick the skis on the back.
I have to say, I join you in being a backpack fan, and I join you in being an Evoc fan. So I do love a backpack. I've got too many of them. It's just crazy when I'm going out. I'm looking, I'm going to say, this backpack, there's more straps hanging everywhere. There's zips everywhere. Yeah, it's quite chaotic.
I mean, my bedroom basically looks like a backpack shop. And I'm not, honestly, it's absolutely ridiculous. And my wife is screaming at me the whole time, like, just got a new backpack.
Anything else that's caught your eye, Rob?
I saw a Sweet Protection helmet. Sweet Protection, you know, Norwegian company that makes really, really amazing quality helmets. This is it's a high-end model. It's got some new tech called variable elasticity plastic. That basically means it's harder in some areas and softer in others, and that protects your head where it's needed to, but it flexes more in other areas, which sort of creates a bit more extra comfort. And then it's got a 2-layer MIPS insert as well, so that's £209.99, so £210 basically.
What's the model called? What's it called? A Sweet Protection what?
And that's the Igniter helmet.
I am still using a Sweet Protection helmet that I've had for a ridiculous amount of time, about 7 years old. I do love a Sweet Protection helmet. I think they're just really nice. They're great build quality. Really, I just think they're really nice. But
I agree, and I have got one Sweet Protection helmet, and that's also a few years old now. But it's very comfortable to wear, and it looks great actually. So
very good. So that's our gear guide roundup for this episode. Now, Rob, where did you last find yourself in a place where I said to you, Rob, I didn't know you could ski there?
Well, yeah, thanks, Dom. I do try every season to get to somewhere that is a little bit different. And so last winter, I traveled to the country of North Macedonia. We flew to Skopje. The Shar Mountains are just an hour and a half from the airport. I traveled up there and hooked up with a cat skiing operation called Shar Outdoors, cat skiing and ski touring. And these guys have got like 4 large cat machines. So cat machine is in the kind of thing that you see grooming the slopes. But they have large cabins built at the back of them, so you can get 12 people in each of these cat machines, and they've got 4 of them.
Fantastic.
It's amazing. It's a bit like heli skiing, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper. It's a very slick operation, and they work out of a 4-star hotel. You know, it's a good hotel. The food's great. The people were very, very friendly. There's a small ski area there as well. There's a few chair lifts there. We did spend half a day skiing on the actual lift service skiing area, and one of the chairlifts, they bought it from Sarajevo, the 1984 Winter Olympic Games.
As you do.
Taking place. They bought this chairlift. It's ridiculously long. You stand at the bottom, you don't see the top of it. It seems to sort of go on forever into the distance. It takes over 20 minutes to get from the bottom to the top of this thing. Nice little ski area, but it wouldn't, for any sort of reasonably good skier that wants to ski a little bit of off-piste terrain, that wouldn't be of any interest more than a day. You could get a day skiing out of the ski area, but of course the cat skiing goes straight from the hotel. You walk out the hotel into the cat machine, and off you go. They'll take you into the Shar Mountains and deliver the best snow conditions that they can find at the time. We were there in the sort of mid to late March time, so it was very, very spring-like. But we found some fantastic sort of untracked spring corn snow, a little bit of powder still up there in pockets as well. And it's just, it's amazing. It's right on the border of Kosovo. So one of the most memorable things is seeing the sun setting over Kosovo as you travel back down in the cat machine at the end of the day. It's amazing.
Do I get any sort of a resort feel there at all? Is there, I mean,
there's a little resort. Yeah, there's Chalet and there's a couple of other smaller hotels, quite rustic, some new build houses as well. You can see people investing in property there.
Okay.
And one of the unique things there is the little mosques that are dotted around the place. They're sort of on the mountainside, they're in the village.
Really?
So this part of North Macedonia is a very, very Muslim area because it's history behind that. Whereas the majority of the country is actually Orthodox Christian, but this particular region is more Muslim. And so you do get mosques, which adds a real kind of, bit of a uniqueness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they've got like après bars on the side of the slope. They've got kind of a cool bar on the side of the slope we stopped at once. Think about £1 a beer. And, sat there on the terrace in the sun and had a couple of beers. So it's very relaxed, very, very friendly people. I mean, honestly, they were so hospitable and, of course, interested in us.
Are they looking to grow that resort, or is it fairly just, it is what it is?
Well, they've put a new chairlift in last year, a very, very modern, high-speed, 6-person, maybe even an 8-person chair.
Oh, really?
Like the most modern chairlift you will see anywhere.
Wow.
And so they've put that lift in recently.
Okay.
But I think there's limitations into as to what they could do with the lifts. But the cat skiing operation, they don't mind that at all, because they'd prefer to keep it open for them, and they can explore that whole. There's so much terrain there, so much terrain to explore.
Oh, fantastic.
And down the road, you've got the capital city, Skopje, which is also really interesting. And there's two sides to it. There's a Muslim side and a Christian side, and they're very, very different. We had a great time wandering around the Muslim quarter, had a little kebab for lunch, and it's a dry part of town, so that you won't find any alcohol over there. And then you walk across the river again, and it's kind of like European suddenly. And you go and have this sort of Mediterranean style food and a glass of wine.
How strange.
It makes it really, really interesting. So North Macedonia.
Fantastic. I love that, Rob.
But I know, Dom, you've been looking at a couple of ways to blow your bonus, spend that cash.
So yes, blow your bonus. You said last time that you wanted to spend some serious cash. So April 23rd, Rob, imagine this. You and US Olympic ski racer Bode Miller, you board MV Nansen Explorer, a yacht, for a completely unique slope-to-ski, heli-ski adventure in Greenland, right?
Wow.
This yacht, originally designed as an Arctic research vessel, specifically equipped for polar waters, an ice-strengthened hull, and, like all yachts, a commercially certified helipad. So, not to mention, this is your ideal launch pad for your heli-ski adventure, Rob. Have I whet your appetite so far?
So we've got Bode Miller, we've got Greenland, we've got a yacht, and we've got a helicopter.
And helicopter. Is there anything else in life that you need?
Well, I mean, if they said they were doing vegan food, I might be a bit stressed. And you couldn't use the hot tub afterwards.
Exactly. Well, this vessel has got such ice-breaking power that it can reach Greenland in time for early spring, weeks before any other vessels can get there. So you pretty much have this place to yourself. It takes you to the island of Manitsok, which I will put in the notes because it's not easy to spell, on the western coast of Greenland, supposedly one of the most remote places in the world when it comes to heli-skiing. So you'd have travelled 150 miles in this yacht beyond the Arctic Circle to Disco Bay, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I can imagine that this is fairly epic in all proportions, and home to some of the largest icebergs in the world.
You know, I've flown over Greenland a few times and seen all that. I mean, Greenland does look absolutely incredible when you fly over it in the spring, in the late spring, when I've normally been flying over there.
Yeah,
it just looks amazing. Yeah,
it is. So they've put together quite an incredible trip here. So Bode Miller, Chris Davenport, Doug Stoop, and the EYOS expert team of internationally certified mountain guides will take you through the most incredible crevasses, knife-edge ridge tops, skiing down deep powder-filled runs, some stretching more than a mile on narrow fjords down to the water's edge, Rob. But always looking for runs that obviously are suitable to your level. They're not going to take you somewhere where they don't think you're capable of. But and it's not all about
terrain there, right? So there's a lot of mountains, so you're going to have everything. Yeah,
absolutely incredible. But of course, it's not all about the skiing. These guys have thought of everything. So when you're having a break from skiing, you do get a chance to go and interact with the local Greenlanders and fishermen and try your hand at dog sledding. What do you think of that for a trip? Is there anything else?
Well, I mean, Dom, this sounds incredible and wonderful. And obviously, as an experience, just to go skiing with Bode Miller and Chris Davenport to start with would be pretty cool. To stay on a yacht that can break through some ice or whatever and get into Greenland before anybody else gets their hands on the snow, and to have a helicopter at your disposal to then fly you around to whatever mountain you basically want to land on. It sounds pretty good to me. But
I can take deposits, Rob. I can take deposits on this now. A 10% deposit.
Okay.
A 10% deposit. Bearing in mind this
10% deposit. So
10% deposit.
A few hundred quid. Yeah.
We're talking €6,000 is your 10% deposit, because this week, all inclusive, 60,000 euros
per person.
Per person, you get a cabin of your own.
Wow, that's amazing week, no doubt. But I mean, what about if I wonder what happens if you are the only person and you're lucky enough? I wonder how many people they have to get to that. So there's a question for them. But anyway,
that's interesting.
And I wonder whether they want podcast presenters to spend that week.
This is what I was thinking.
With them on the boat.
This is what press trips are made for, isn't it? I mean, do they not make these trips to get press on it? I mean, surely. Surely.
No, look, I've had some friends that have been to Greenland to ski. I've got a friend of mine who is also a sailor, and he owns quite an ocean going yacht, and he's been up that way before in May and June, and they go up there and then they go right up into those sort of fjords in Greenland, and then they ski tour. So that's the kind of analog, slightly more friendly analog, cheaper way to do it. I mean,
I was going to say, we it sounds like we're going to set up in competition. We can offer this for 59,500. But at the other end of the scale, Rob, back in the real world, we are aware that people might be thinking, I need to tighten the belt a little bit. And we have been looking at other options out there where people can shave a few pounds off their ski trip.
Yeah, Travel Association, ABTA, they've just said that they believe 35% of travellers will be looking to reduce their holiday costs in 2023.
Okay.
So, it's a significant amount. I mean, on the positive side, I suppose that does mean that way over 50% of saying, no, we're not going to reduce costs. I mean, there's lots of self-catering accommodation around at the moment. There is a real trend emerging among some operators, especially in France, that sort of build chef services or food delivery services on top of the self-catered accommodation.
Yep.
The reality is that tour operators have generally sort of shifted from being an employer to pulling in these third-party services, but it's costing the holiday maker generally less for what is generally a better product. So there's
also the what's the name of that company? They do the delivery service of almost who is it that delivers the ready-made food that's really good quality ready-made food? But do you remember what they're called? What are they called?
Yep. Yeah. I do know what they're called.
I can't
Just
think.
trying to think of their names.
What's his name?
But it's not coming to me.
Husky is the name, Rob. Husky is the name
Oh,
I'm
gosh,
thinking of
yes.
the delivery service.
Of course it is.
They do delivery of really nice quality food, ready made, and then you just heat it up or stick it in the oven, and you've got nice quality food without having to go out for dinner. So yeah.
The thing is, you've got to make a decision. You've got to book things quickly. This is one tip. If you're going to have that flexible catered chalet accommodation, but you don't just book your chalet and go, oh yeah, we'll sort everything out later, because you won't. That chef will not be available 2 weeks out from that ski holiday.
Yeah.
Book your chalet, book the chef, because those chefs are in demand.
And the same goes for everything else, your ski pass, your ski rental. I mean, getting these things booked up, it does save money, doesn't it? It's quite amazing what you can save on ski passes by pre-booking, in most cases.
I might just do a little bit of, breaking news here, which I was going to do next week. But there's a new website called Snow Rental relaunching very, very soon, for specifically catered to the UK market, which will give discounts on ski rental equipment. And they have even signed, and no one that I'm the only person to know this, honestly. They have just signed Dave Riding as an ambassador.
Really?
And that news has not been announced yet. So I think that's going to be an interesting one.
What else, Rob? How else can people save money?
Yeah. Driving is another way that people look at saving money. You've got a family of say 4 and you're going in school holiday times and you're looking at flights, then driving will, I'm sure, definitely save money. It's still going to cost a bit more than it used to, the fuel, and then you've got the tolls on the roads in France, and of course you've got the ferry or the tunnel on those peak weeks. If there's a group of you, that will save money, and that's an obvious one. I know that's an obvious one. There's a few other things. Crystal, I was looking around. Crystal, again, one of the largest ski tour operators in the UK. I found a resort that I have never even heard of before, and called. And actually, it's in Bosnia and Herzegovina, so in the Balkan Peninsula, of course, and it's called Bijelzinka, I think.
Jelasnica.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You maybe get that. You got that better than me.
Jelasnica.
Okay. I'll go with your pronunciation, Dom. That's good. I found a deal on the Crystal website for £333 per person. That includes your flights, a transfer, and a 5-night stay in a 4-star hotel, including breakfast.
Wow.
And I can't imagine the food and drink will be very expensive there. No. And you also get 2 ski passes for the price of 1. And the ski passes, I can't remember the price, but it's lower than, say, in the Alps,
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I mean, the downside to that, we've got to be honest and realistic, is that there's only 12 kilometers of ski runs there. So if you're the sort of skier that for 5 days, you need a lot of terrain, you like to cover, if you're a 3 valleys person, for example, I don't think this is for you. But if you're a beginner, or if you don't mind the fact that you don't have, if you like skiing the same runs more over and over again, that is a brilliant deal, isn't it? I mean, £333. I spotted a Ski France chalet operator, in the French Alps, and accommodation operator, I should say. They've got some good deals on now. In some cases, up to 40% off self-catering accommodation. And I found an apartment that can sleep up to 4 people, it says, although I think it's, it's probably more realistic. 2, very comfortable for 2, could get 4 in there. Cool. £360 for 7 nights in January.
Wow.
In again a sort of lesser known resort of La Féclaz, which is very close to Chambéry.
I don't know that resort.
No, you know what? I'd heard of it sort of, and I did a bit of research on the resort, and it's a small, lesser known resort, and I've never been there myself, but it looks nice enough, and a great little deal in the middle of January, reduced from £480 to £360.
Having that section in this podcast is very handy for listeners to hear ways in which they can save a bit of cash if they need to.
This is a great chance to thank our sponsors today, Mountain Heaven. Mountain Heaven are an independent family-owned chalet operator with catered and self-catered chalets and apartments across some of the best resorts in the French and Swiss Alps. Not only that, but Mountain Heaven will even take you skiing as far afield as Uzbekistan. So check them out today at mountainheaven.co.uk.
So, Dom, what have you found, that sort of feel-good factor stuff? Anything amusing?
I thought this was quite feel-good, you know, Rob. The Elf on the Shelf franchise, which I'm sure you're familiar with, done a deal with Kellogg's, and they have unveiled their new Elf on the Shelf North Pole Snow Cream cereal. They claim in their media release, are you ready for this? It's our first ever cereal that deliciously cools your mouth as you enjoy it.
Wow.
The cereal
It's a bit corny. That's a bit
Sorry?
corny.
It is corny, isn't it? Yeah. I like the joke, Rob. I didn't quite catch
Sorry
on
about that.
The cereal mixes a flurry of frosted star pieces and mini marshmallows. Each spoonful will remind you of creamy, sweet vanilla ice cream. Kellogg's promise. What do you think?
You're in the wrong job, Dom. You should be a voiceover artist for Kellogg's adverts.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. I mean, yeah. So I mean,
you really don't know what to say to that.
As you know, with kids though, if once they taste that, you know,
yes.
Oh, try and get them onto muesli again for the rest of the week, and you're stuffed, really, aren't you?
Porridge.
That's the problem. Yes.
How about you, Rob? Found anything heartwarming for me or funny?
Yeah, it's a new activity for animal lovers, and snowshoeing with dogs, and it sounds very nice. You know, it's being offered in the resort of La Plagne this winter. It's called a Cani Raquette, which is basically means snowshoeing with dogs, and it'll see people click onto into their snowshoes and team up with a friendly four-legged friend, and to explore those snowy paths, those lovely snowy paths and woodlands around the resort. I mean, personally, for me, it sounds fairly dreadful. I mean, no, not dreadful. That's not the right word, is it? I mean, it's just, you know, I just, it's not for me.
I would be up for that.
My daughter would absolutely love
your daughter. I know your daughter would love that because she tried to adopt my dog at one point.
Yeah. And as a family experience, it would be really nice to do. And I would do it for that. I go to ski resorts basically to click into those skis. To be on the mountain and experience all of those things. Although saying that, you know, last year, Don, we did do some mountain biking on snow, didn't we? On the
That was fun.
And that was brilliant fun. I loved that.
You were very fiercely competitive, Rob. No surprises there. Those bikes were a lot of fun.
It was just a bit of a shame that the director of the ski resort that was there sort of taking us around ended up crashing on his bike, possibly because of my over competitiveness as well. I hope we get invited back.
So, Rob, that concludes episode 2. Good stuff, Rob. I wish you well.
I'd just like to say to anybody listening, tell us what you liked or maybe what you didn't like as much. It's always good to get some feedback and hear from people. So please do interact.
All the details about this podcast are in the notes section. Any links to what we've talked about are all in the notes. And as Rob said, make sure you contact us at hello@inthesnow.com, and that will get through to us if you like, dislike, or anything. But what I would advise you to do is to subscribe to the channel so that you know when we're going to be broadcasting next, which I think will be straight after the ski show, Rob. So that'll be probably week commencing 21st, 22nd, won't it?
See you then, Dom.